Cara Barris, and welcome to my kitchen. Well, by special viewer request, I have a guest on today that is a wine expert, better known as a sommelier. I'd like to introduce Elizabeth Steely.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm glad to have you on today, Elizabeth.
That's exciting, very exciting.
So, sommelier, did I pronounce that correctly?
You did, yep, absolutely.
Okay. And that means the translation?
Wine expert.
Okay.
Wine expert. Generally more in a restaurant term, but it means wine expert.
Okay. And could you give us a little bit of an overview on your background? That's
Sure,
pretty
sure.
interesting.
Yep, I've been in the business for 15 years. My brother had a wholesale company that I went into lack of him making me. And he said, you know, let's do this as a business venture. And I started out when I was 20 and just doing data processing. And I loved it. I loved just the whole intrigue of wine and how it was grown and how it was made. And that's why here I am today.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So you're going to demystify wine for us,
yes,
right?
I mean, I got into the business now because I wanted it to demystify and make it more fun. Than people are a lot scared of choosing a bottle. So I wanted to try to reinvent the wheel, if you will, and making it fun.
Oh, that's great, because I started to drink wine probably about 15 years ago, and I've learned so much since then.
Yes.
But you're right, a lot of people are afraid to try it,
They
or
are.
what do I choose, how do I
Exactly.
start, and that sort of thing.
Right.
So, and it is a lot of fun.
It is. It's so much fun. More fun than, it's one of the, I mean, again, it's libations, and everybody loves the fact when I come over because they know I'm bringing the libation, so no one's ever afraid of me. I'm like, oh no, she's coming. They're like, come. But it's a lot of fun, and I love when I suggest a wine to somebody and they come back and say, you know what, that was fabulous. It's such a great feeling.
And that's right, you work for Gasbarro's right now.
Yep.
Okay, in North Attleboro.
Correct.
The new store just opened on
a new
Route
store.
1.
I've been open a year, and I've been there a year, so, and it's fun. I mean, I love it. I love people and I love wine, so it's fun.
All right, terrific.
Great.
Terrific. So, what are we going to start with today?
Well, we're going to start, I brought today everything, I tried to make it as user-friendly as possible. So I brought wines, I brought different wines that are under $15 a bottle, so it won't break the bank in any way. I brought, to start, a Prosecco from Italy. A lot of people think that they have to spend a ton of money on sparkling wine because it comes from Champagne, or you know, and this Prosecco is $11.99 a bottle.
Wow.
And it's nice small bubbles, really crisp and clean, something that you'd want to, if you're having a party, you know, liven it up, have a nice little delicate refreshment beforehand, get the palate going with the bubbles, and it's perfect. Or even celebratory, if you don't want to spend a ton of money on toasting a new venture as far as a promotion in a job, things like that, it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Great. So you don't have to spend a lot of money
Absolutely
on
not.
champagne.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's good for its, you know, purpose. You know, we still sell a ton of champagne, but I think Prosecco is going to be the new up and coming sparkling wine of the trade. I believe that. Next we have, I brought 2 white wines. Another thing I'd like to point out too is that everyone knows that wine comes with a cork. For years and years, that's how they've been done. So I brought Screwcaps, or what they're called is Stelvin enclosures by my geeky terms, because that's the name of the gentleman. His last name was Stelvin, and he invented it.
Stelvin enclosures.
Because of there's going to be a scarceness of corks. A lot of them come from Portugal, and with everything now being made from those specific trees, there will be a shortage. So they have come to synthetic corks, plastic corks, rubber corks, but they don't give the exact seal, if you will, of a true cork. So they're coming back with a lot of tainted bottles. So that's why this was invented. It gives you the vacuum seal that you need. You can, when you open it, you can heal the freshness, the little, if you will. And I think this is the way of the future as far as wines that you want to drink now. Anything that will be aged years on out, like a lot of the Burgundies and the Bordeaux's of France, they will still be they will still keep corks. They won't come to this because you don't want to age anything with the Stelvin enclosure.
Okay.
But for light, lively wines that to drink now, I say it's perfect.
Oh yeah,
Perfect.
And I like that. Would you like to demonstrate the?
Sure. And I have two wines here: the Sauvignon Blanc, which is the Beach House, and this is from South Africa. And I also have a Grüne Veltliner, which a lot of people aren't familiar with, from Austria, and it's a nice,
I'm not.
light, lively wine. You liking Sauvignon Blancs with great acidity? You might give that a try.
Okay.
So you just literally the best way to open it is you take the bottle, and you do it in two ways. You take the bottom capsule in one hand, and you take the actual screw part in the other hand, and you twist them both side by side. And that way it opens.
Ah.
And did you hear the little?
A little
when it
bit.
did it?
Yeah.
You can just smell freshness in that.
Mmm.
I'll give you a little taste.
It's not too early, is that?
No, absolutely. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's never ever too early for wine, as far as I'm concerned.
That's nice and light and refreshing.
Isn't it?
I can see this out on my back deck in the summer, and a nice chilled,
And you don't have to, where's my corkscrew? You can just.
Now, what brings up the price, though, in the wine? Like 10, this category of wines versus 30, 40, 50?
Well, I think a lot would be just having supply and demand, if you will. Like Pinot Noir, when that movie Sidewise came out, the Pinot Noir went through the roof because they just could not make enough of it to supply. Merlot went way down because they were like, oh, Merlot, no. But Pinot Noir skyrocketed. So Pinot producers were like, well, if this is what people want, we're going to raise our prices. And that's what happened. Same thing with champagne. But you can find a great bottle of wine.
Right.
With Cloudy Bay Sauvignon Blanc. That's a great way to describe white wines that sells for about $30 a bottle. It's because that was one of the first white wines from New Zealand that came out, and it had this cult following. So again, supply and demand. But another thing I brought that I thought would be fun is a rosé, and this is a rosé from France. A lot of people think that wine in a bottle that's pink is sweet and cloying, like a white Zin.
Right, which I don't like.
And I don't care for myself, but we sell tons of it, and people love it, and that's great for them.
Right.
This right here, I try to people that like white wines, like yourself, that like high acidity, but they don't necessarily care for red wines. This is made of red grapes, but it's the first press off of the red grapes, so you don't have that tannin structure in there. So.
And what's the tannin?
Tannin is from the grape skins and the piths in the grapes, which is the antioxidants, if you will. And as it's steeped in the fermentation, you're getting more of that pigment in there. So the tannins become a lot more harsh, if you will, kind of making you salivate. And a lot of people don't like that or love it. Some people want the more aggressive, the red wine, the better. So this is a rosé from France. I even love that sound of glub, glub, glub. It's just so. I'd like you to give this a try.
All right.
Being a white wine drinker yourself.
Yeah.
That might be something that.
And the glass, is that?
This is a perfect white wine glass. No, that's a perfect white wine glass.
Wine.
Red wine, you want something along these lines here that are bulbous and come up, because red wines are generally more aromatic. So it's something that you'd really want to be able to swirl. And I know we had spoke about legs earlier. This might even get a little bit in there, if you will.
And that's the alcohol.
It's the alcohol rising down. This is probably a 13.5 alcohol in here, if I'd say. Yep, 13.
Okay. This is interesting.
It's pretty. Not as acidic as your Sauvignon Blancs would be. It's going to have a little bit more of a bitter almondy taste.
Yeah.
But with a grilled pizza, can you
This
think
is
of?
good.
I'm converting Linda. Yay!
That, you're right though. I would have never tried a pink
You would have
toned
thought that
wine
was
before
sweet.
because it's like, oh, white Zinfandel, don't like it.
Right. Next up, we have, this is a new fun enclosure here. This is called a sherry top. And you just literally follow the spiral around.
Oh, wow, that's neat.
Yep.
Yeah, I can take that.
Okay. And then you just pull it off as such. And then you just lift and open.
Oh,
Did you hear?
I did.
Okay,
yeah.
see? And it just goes, and you can hear the seal.
Question, yes,
Sure.
right. Good point to make. How long, when I open up my white during the work week, I'll have 1 or 2 glasses after work. We usually keep it in the refrigerator a couple nights.
You can
How
even do that
long?
with red wine. I know that you're
Can
not
you?
absolutely.
Okay,
If you're not
okay.
going to drink it, if you're going to hold off and not drink it for a couple of days after it's open with red wine, I say put it in the fridge. When you're ready to drink it, take it out and then serve that at room temperature.
Okay.
Because your refrigerator is actually going to just stop. It's going to preserve it for what it is. Because
All
like I
right,
said, it's a
I
living
didn't know
thing.
that.
And if you just
Okay.
leave it out, at least in my house, the temperature fluctuates throughout the day.
Yeah.
Your refrigerator, though, pretty much stays at bay.
Oh,
So that's the
okay,
best thing to
okay.
do, is even with red wines.
And you would say overall,
I would say you've
don't
got a
keep them
good-
more than a couple days.
You could, if you're not going to open it, like if you're telling me that you're going to have a bottle of wine and you had a glass and then you're going to, or 2 glasses, and you're going to finish it the next time you open it, I say that's okay. If you're going to keep it and have a glass for 7 days, now you're oxygenating it every time you open it. It's not going to be, you're going to be,
okay.
not that it's going to go bad, but you're going to taste the tasting profile change in it.
And I have done that
and you
before.
will.
It's been a few days later
Absolutely.
and I've had it and
Yep.
it's like, no, not
But the best
that.
thing you could do
Yeah.
with it too is you can also, if you have a little bit, and even though it's the off flavor, you can cook with it.
Okay.
You can still use it as, because the wine itself's not bad, it's just you're getting oxygen into
Yep,
it,
that's
and
a
it's
good
just going to
point.
taste the.
And I remember
So-
a long time ago, somebody told me if you can't drink it, don't cook with it.
Exactly.
Because the cooking wines are loaded with salt.
They are.
And because to avoid some kind of taxing or whatever.
That,
so-
and also because with cooking wines, you can let it last for 30 days when it's open. Well, that's because it's mummified in salt. I mean,
Yeah.
I would last for 30 days open too if I was mummified in salt.
Right.
And that's what, it's just they do it
Yeah.
as a
Yep,
preserving.
So that's a good rule of thumb.
Yes.
I think I learned a long time ago. If you can't drink it, then
Yeah,
don't cook
exactly.
with it. So-
I brought this. This has a little, a special, I think, friendship with us, because this is how we've met.
Yeah, that's right. We met at a wine tasting in Seacon.
Yep. And one of the things they had said to me was that they didn't really care for red wine. I'm like, I got something for you. So this is, yes, it's a red wine, but it's a Merlot wine base, but it has it's infused with bitter chocolate. And if you're anything like me, you're having wine and chocolate, and being female, I'm like, yes. But it is quite delicious. You can't get better. You can't. And it is quite, it's quite delicious.
It's very interesting.
Yes.
Let me tell you, because when I took a sip of it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm just converted to red wine.
If they all tasted like this, we'd be all set. But this right here, this is called Coco Rosso, and the one that you had was Red Decadence. Now they're all. This is again
I like
from the
that
same.
Red Decadence.
Yeah, and this is beautiful. This is the same type of. Again, it's a Stelvin. I recommend this too. And I should have mentioned, in the progression of wines that we talked about and brought today, was to start. You'd like to start with a nice little sparkling Prosecco, and then you enter with your nice light, lively wines, and then you head over to, if you were going to do a lighter red, this would be a Pinot Noir, would be a lighter red, and then your heavier Cabernet red wines. Just in a progression, if you wanted to do a dinner party, or if you're having a 4 or 3-course meal.
Yeah, see,
or
I never
just
realized that. Okay.
Or just to, if you were going to have something out on the deck and you wanted to have a variety for people. It's just a good rule of thumb to have if you wanted it. So you could skip the Prosecco if you don't want to, but you could have like the lighter red, the heavier red, because everybody's palate's different. Everybody likes different things.
That's right.
I have not found one person that has told me that they did not like this wine. Even people that are novices in wine, that we've done tastings at the store.
Yeah.
Love it.
So my coworker who says, "Oh, I don't like wine because it's bitter, she
Oh,
says.
this is,
So
we can convert her.
yes.
I think we definitely.
I'm going to try.
So this is, again, it's a red, it's literally a red wine. And it's just infused with the chocolate. So please, I can even just smell it from here. I can smell it from here.
Chocolate and wine, people. You can't get any better than this.
I can see we're going to have supply and demand. This isn't going to be good.
Now, Michelle, you would love this one. Sweet and chocolatey and delicious with that fruit and the chocolate together, which is a great combination.
It is.
Anyway.
It's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. People, like I said, we've done this several different tastings, and there's no one that said, "Oh my God," you know.
Now we have all these wines from different regions.
Right.
Each region, I found also throughout my wine experiences, like you'll end up liking a certain region. Like my husband and I, we like a lot of different types of white wine, but we love the New Zealand's because we find they're grassy, acidic, citrusy, and the more you taste, you will be able to distinguish those differences. Let me tell you, because you don't have to be a real expert to do that. The more wines that you sample, you will be able to tell the differences after a while. Some are fruitier.
Yeah, and you knew, or your husband knew about the vintage change. And the Sauvignon Blanc, vintage definitely matters. Definitely.
So the year, if you like a certain year, like we were drinking, I forget what it was, Oyster Bay or something, 2008. We bought a whole case of it. We loved it. We went and we purchased the following year. It was more bitter and we didn't like it.
Yeah, it's the climate. The climate always has a lot to do with the grapes that are grown. So if they had a very warm year, your grapes are going to taste different. If they had a cooler year, the grapes are going to be different. If they had a wet year, it's based on the soils and the climate. So vintages, they do matter within the wines.
And Elizabeth, what is the best way for people out there to learn about wines, to become more educated? Would you say I love the wine tastings.
Absolutely. Wine tastings, a lot of local places offer free wine tastings on weekends. I know especially in Massachusetts they do. Fridays and Saturdays, they offer free wine samplings. And I think that's the best way to go. Taste out things. I mean, if they're free of charge, so you're tasting things, you're not putting any money into it. And at least it's a good way, even if you find something that you don't like, it's good doing that, because that way you find out what you don't like, and then you can go from there.
Correct.
And then just asking questions. Most places have someone there that can guide you in the right direction as far as if you get to know, like when I got to know your palate, I got to know that you like Sauvignon Blancs. So there I knew that you would like the Gruner Veltliner, and then the Rosé. So once you get the tasting profile of somebody, you can guide them through. And most places have somebody there that can at least guide you in the direction of a tasting profile of wine.
All right, Elizabeth, I guess we need to mention our last wine right here. What do you have?
We do. We have a Pinot Noir, and this is from France. It's from the Languedoc area. It's a nice, light and lively wine. This is a great alternative for somebody if you're, having a gathering to have a light red wine offered. A lot of people, especially in the summertime, springtime, want to have a red wine, but Cabernets and Merlots can be too heavy. Pinot Noir is a great alternative. This is, again, nice, light, lively, $10 a bottle. The Arrogant Frog, it's a little frog all dressed up in little, French attire. Very, very cute and very, very accessible to anybody. And then I have to mention this stand because I absolutely love it. And I just think it's one of the most odd and intriguing little pieces of device.
And I'm glad you
I love it. And
before.
I hadn't seen this, and my husband took a look at it, and now he's probably in our basement right now making several hundred of them. So you just, the balance of the bottle, the weight of the bottle just balances it. So you just place it ever so, and you got to get it just right, and I'm sure I'm going to not be able to do that right away.
Put this. Here, let's see.
Linda's the expert on that, so we let her do it.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, there we go.
And it just suspends itself. I think it's wonderful. I absolutely love it. Such a great decoration piece.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, our friend Ray got that for us when he was down in
South
America.
Ray, it's great. I think, Ray, you did good. Done good, Ray. Looks wonderful.
And believe it or not, I still have a few questions I'd like to ask you.
Absolutely.
If you would. Okay,
Sure.
Okay. Now, these are from people I just put out there speaking to people. What are some of the other questions you'd like to know about wine? And a few that we just haven't addressed, believe it or not. But anyway,
Sure.
Is red wine reserved for winter, fall, and white for spring, summer, like shoes?
That's funny. Some people think that, and they like to stick with reds in the winter. You're thinking more kind of, dreary and, the weather. And then summer, nice and light and lively, so you go that way with white wines. I say go with what you like. You like white wine. I'm sure you drink a lot of white wine in the wintertime.
Yes, I
go
do.
with what you like. Go with whatever. If you like it, I say stick with it. Some people like just red wines and they stick with those through the summertime. There's nothing wrong with it. I say stick with what you like.
Okay.
There's no wrong answer if you like it.
And this is a new like, and I usually don't drink red wine, but
Yeah.
chocolate and red.
That's what I'm saying.
New,
You can't go wrong.
Yeah,
You
this will
just
be
can't.
a year round.
That's right. Spring,
right
summer,
here.
winter, and fall. How can you go? Absolutely. I say stick with what. And one question I get all the time is, what's the best bottle of wine? The best bottle of wine is the bottle that you like.
Yeah.
If you like it, it's the perfect wine for you. Really, it
Yeah.
really is. It's all with your tasting profile and even wine with food. Generally you should stick the rule of thumb with food is the textures in food, the heavier the foods, the heavier your wine should be.
Oh, okay.
The lighter the foods,
okay.
the lighter
that
the
was,
wine
yeah,
should be.
another question people
Seafood,
had.
things
Yep.
like that would be, yes,
lighter,
you would use
lighter
whites
wine.
or even Pinot Noir because it's a light
Okay.
red. Sushi, I get all the time. What's perfect with sushi for white wines? To be honest with you, the perfect wine for me with sushi is Prosecco because sushi's pretty salty. So you want to always kind of have savory with acidity. You always want to balance the two. You never want anything spicy hot with something that's high in alcohol. They don't. If you're thinking hot and spicy and then you put all this alcohol on there, it's just going to burn.
Okay.
So you'd want something light and lively.
Oh, all right. All
It's
right,
just
that
the
makes
rule
sense.
It's really, if you think about it, it's just the rule of thumb in spices and textures in food. It's pretty easy.
All right. Okay. Okay. While dining out, what is the best way to remember a wine that you like?
I think the best way, and I know that what you've done is ask the waiter or waitress to write down the bottle,
Yep.
the label for you, because in glass pours, it might just say Cabernet. Well, what does that
Right.
mean to you?
Unless there's a description on the menu.
Exactly. I think the best way is again to look labels. People remember labels, or just have the server write it down for you. I think that's a good option as well.
Okay. Okay. And you talked about that. How should you pair wine with food? Okay. What is a safe choice to bring to someone's house party? Let's say you're going with a friend, you don't know the host personally.
Yep. I always recommend two things. I recommend if you know what they're having for dinner, perhaps, maybe something that will correspond with the dinner. Usually, or if not, if you just don't know what they're having and you just want to give a hostess gift, the best thing to do is to bring a bottle of sparkling, whether it's Prosecco or Cava, because even if they don't drink it that night, they'll drink it at some point in time. And that's one thing I always recommend. That or a bottle of white wine, Sauvignon Blanc, not Chardonnay, but Sauvignon Blanc or Pinot Grigio, but not usually red, because white wine's usually receptive to just about everybody.
Okay, that's...
Or they'll save it and offer it, because
Yeah.
if they are just red wine drinkers, chances are they don't buy a lot of white wine, but they'll save it when they have company.
That's right, and then they'll... Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, well, thank you.
My pleasure.
I just want to, so here you talked about the pairing of food and wine.
Yes.
And so just to have a nice informal,
Absolutely.
casual wine and cheese
Yep.
party.
And we do these all the time at our house, always. My husband
Okay.
and I on the deck, we actually have, we've done bring your own cheese party. And people will bring their own cheese because I supply the wine, but it's bring your own cheese.
That's easy. I'll
And-
supply the cheese.
Yes, next weekend. So we have bring your own cheese, and we'll just have these cheese trays and just crackers. People bring crackers and different breads and things, and we have just a great time.
Good, because this was, I just want to point out to viewers that this was fairly inexpensive for me to do. I did this myself, and I don't consider myself a food stylist at all. So, and I was proud of what I did here, but one of the things I remember learning about putting together a cheese platter is just make sure you have like different shapes, textures, and like sharpness in cheese.
Exactly.
And I'll show you what I did here on this particular cheese platter. I have some cubed Swiss that I did. I did some extra sharp cheddar that I cubed. Here's a nice creamy triple cream brie. And I have a blue cheese. And I actually purchased some pre-cut pepper jack. That's what I have here. This is a domestic cheese platter. These are all American cheeses that I put here, produced in this country. And you can also put together an international cheese platter. So just a couple of guidelines, that's all.
Wonderful.
And just throw some fruit around it. Right.
And expensive
right.
and...
Yeah, because most of the time you will find cheese on...
Because you bought this at a local store.
I did,
yes.
local supermarket right here, and some of them have terrific cheese sections now, so you're not limited at all. So, yeah, well, thank you so much,
Thank
Elizabeth.
you for having me.
Oh my
It's a
goodness.
pleasure, absolutely pleasure.
Now, if people have more questions or they want to contact you, how should they do that? If they have any more questions on wine.
They can email me, or they could call me if they want to.
Okay.
My email address is elizabeth@seekonkliquors.com. Elizabeth at SEEKONKLIQUORS.com.
Okay, very good.
Yep. And or you could just call the store, and that's right in the phone book. So.
Okay.
But I'm always there. So.
All right. All right. Well, very good. Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure. Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you.